discussing about working with TypeScript. So we discuss the TypeScript features and the TypeScript architecture. Today we will see detailedly about the TypeScript language. What changes are there from when compared to the JavaScript? Just comparing with JavaScript, what are the new things you have to know? So as I told you about, we are going to deal with TypeScript language. In this first thing is about variables. So in TypeScript, variables are defined using same var, let, and const. Same like JavaScript, variables are defined. What is extra? So variables require the data type to define. Usually it will be like this: var variable name colon data type and equal to value. That's how we define. That is the extra work you have to do in TypeScript. JavaScript variables, TypeScript variables declaration is same. So var, let, and const. Only the extra type is data type. And important, what is the data type related concept is data types. All JavaScript data types are same in TypeScript also. There is no change. Data types are same. Only the point is we have to mention the data type for variable. All data types are same means, you know, primitive types. What are primitive types? Primitive types we have like number, string, boolean, null, undefined, and symbol. This comes under primitive type of JavaScript. What are non-primitive types? Non-primitive types means we have an array, we have object, we have map. These comes under non-primitive type. So JavaScript data types are same. Same JavaScript data types we use in TypeScript also, no change. So only one additional thing. Outdated things we will not discuss, any time waste processor. I think you struck 5 years, 4 years back with set. Who is this? Some Ajitesh Mishra. I hope you are not updated with your JavaScript. We don't use these sets or anymore in JavaScript. That is outdated JavaScript, huh? Right? We use these maps and all. So we don't waste time in all the old concepts that you learned 4 or 5 years back, right? Yeah. So they are outdated concepts. We don't need them at all, right? So we have, these are all data types, right? I am not teaching you any JavaScript. I don't waste time in even discussing that, because already what is difference in TypeScript, I will explain. What are the new things you need to know? Just what you are, means what you need to know related to React. So we are going to see that TypeScript. So these are all primitive types, and we have what? Non-primitive types. And what is the configuration techniques? I will explain here. That means suppose we are using our project here. This is the video tutorial. Yeah. Yesterday we learned about how to create a simple program means how we can declare a variable and configure the variables. So here, working with the data types, what are the data types we are having? The primitive types. Primitive types means you have number, string, boolean, null, undefined. Just example how you configure, right? So var some x is what type? String. And we can store some string value into it. That is a basic one. Yesterday I already showed you, if you define any wrong type, it will not allow to handle, right? So if data type is not defined, that means var suppose id is what? Number. If var some name is what type? String. So var some stock what type? Boolean. We want to show true or false. These are the general primitive types. If you want to configure so any value like rating, and you can configure null type if you want to store a null. You can also configure suppose some city. We can also configure undefined if it is undefined type. In JavaScript, whatever the data types are there, those data types will work here. Same concept we have to follow. So additionally, you are going to mention this type. Here, some points are there. If data type is not defined, suppose we are not defining any data type here. So not defined, then what will happen? The default type is any. The default type is any. So one more technical thing you have to learn. If value is initialized, then the type is configured. The type is configured according to value type. This is very important. Initialize. This is important. So if value is initialized, then type is configured according to the value type. I hope you know what is initialization, declaring, and assignment. Variables will be there. Usually what happens is, so we have var. Suppose we defined x. If you don't mention the data type, x is any type. Into x, I can store 10. That means it stores number. After that, if I store string, is it valid? Is it valid? It is valid. After that, you store boolean. It is valid. Because read the sentence I given. If value is initialized, then the type is configured according to value type. Otherwise, it is treated as what type? Any. Otherwise, it is treated as any type. Here, am I initializing value 10? Am I initializing the value 10 into x? No, we are not initializing. We are assigning. This is not initialization. This is assignment. I hope you learned in JavaScript what is difference between initialization, assignment, declaration. Three basics will be there. Declaring a variable, assigning value, initializing value. So this is valid. This is valid. If you don't mention the data type, by default is any type, and you can assign any value into it. But if you define var x equal to 10, that means you initialize it. X is what? Number. Into that you stored some string. This is invalid. Into that you stored some boolean. This is invalid. Because X is always what type now? Number type. Even you don't mention the data type, the type will be determined according to the value initialized, not assigned, value initialized. You see now here. So var x, I am just declaring. Into x I store 10. That's okay. Into that I store a. That is also okay. Into that I store true. That's also okay. No problem. That means you can assign any kind of value. But if you initialize to 10, that means it is number. The second two are not valid. Initialization means it will fix the type now. If you don't initialize, then what is the data type? If you don't initialize, then the data type is considered as what type? Any. You can assign any value into it. This is the declaration syntax you have to know. That means you have to mention data type. Always keep an habit of mentioning data type. If you don't mention data type, then it will be any type. So into any type, you can assign any kind of value. Without mentioning data type, how you can restrict the type? Without mentioning data type, we can restrict the type by initializing some value into it. Initializing some value. That means if I initialize 0, it becomes a number. If I initialize double quote, then it becomes a string. Now I cannot store number. I can store string. I cannot store boolean because its type is string type. What is this mechanism called as? Yesterday I told you. The mechanism of configuring data type according to the value initialized is known as type inference. We call it as type inference. So configuring data type according to the value initialized is called as type inference. We call that mechanism as type inference. So generally, while dealing with the data types, so this is the first basic point. I hope you understood how to declare a variable. Always prefer mentioning data type. If you don't mention data type, it will take any type. If you initialize, then it's okay. So if you want to just declare and fix the data type, then make sure that you mention the data type. You mention the data type, right? That is one point. So how we define variable. Second point is here. Another important about TypeScript. TypeScript supports union of types. TypeScript supports union of types. That means where we can define variable name and we can define data type and pipe symbol another data type, pipe symbol another data type. You can mention any number of types. That means you can declare a variable like this where X, you can put number or you can put string or you can put boolean. What does this means? This means number can be either X can be either number or string or boolean. anything is okay. That means we can restrict 2 types, 3 types, anything you can mention. This is called union of types. Why this is required? Why we need union of types? If I say any, all will store. That means string will store, boolean will store, null undefined also will store. For example, now tell me here, I will ask you one question. How to declare a variable to store the value from to store the value from prompt to store the value from prompt. How to declare a variable to store the value from prompt? You know, in JavaScript prompt method, what it will return, can you tell? What a prompt returns in JavaScript? JavaScript have prompt method. What a prompt returns in JavaScript? No, you have alert, you have confirm. Do you know what confirm returns? Confirm returns boolean, true or false. If you click OK, it is true. If you click cancel, it is false. So if I want to store the value coming from a confirm box, then the variable should be what type? Variable should be what type? Boolean. Boolean type. What a prompt returns? Do you know prompt returns null when you click cancel? Prompt returns string when you click OK. That means prompt is not returning one value. Prompt is returning 2 values. It is either null or string. Then how to declare a variable for this? How do we declare a variable? Because prompt is going to send either null or string. Null or string. Then how do we declare variable? For example, here we have choice is equal to confirm. Confirm, are you sure? Something. This confirm is going to return a boolean. This confirm is a boolean method. What is the return type? Boolean. Then what should be the data type? Data type should be what? Boolean. That is okay because it returns only boolean, either true or false. Now we have username. It is coming from a prompt. It is coming from a prompt. And we say enter name. And observe carefully here. This I defined data type as a string. It is an error. Why error? Because prompt will not return a string every time. When you click OK, it will return string. If you click cancel, then it will return null. Then how you declare a variable which can handle 2 data types? You have to use pipe symbol null. That's how you define. That is how we have to define. Why? Because you already learned in JavaScript, prompt returns null or string. You see, prompt contains 2 options. One is string or null. In that case, the variable must be in such a way that either it must be a string type or a null. This is called union of types. Union of types. Union of types means a variable that can handle multiple data types. How you can manage that? So the answer for this, so we have var some user, it is either string or it is null, is equal to prompt and some enter name. Like this we define. If it is a conform box, then we know exactly some choice. It is what type? Boolean. Only one type. Then we just put a conform like that. Conform. So many times we are not sure about the data type. Then we put any. But when you put any, it will handle several types. We don't want to handle several types. We want to handle only specific. Either it is string or it is null. It's very important to mention union of types. Otherwise, lot of errors will come, especially when you are dealing with such methods like prompt and all, right? So this is another important thing you should know. TypeScript supports union of types. Suppose you see now I'm using var x. It is a string, it is a number, and it is a boolean. Now it can store, suppose null I am trying to store, it cannot store. It can store any number, that's okay. It can store any string. It can store any boolean. Anything else you try to store, it will not allow. Right? This is the basic thing you should know about the types. So this is how to declare a variable to store the values. I hope you understood the point. So how to declare variables in TypeScript? You can use your same words, var let const, variable name. All variable name rules are same, no change as JavaScript. Only one extra thing is data type. And in data type, what it will support? In data type, it is going to support what? Union of types. Union of types means which can handle multiple types, right? Next important, another concept is primitive types. All are same, no change. We will see how we can handle TypeScript array. Non-primitive types. TypeScript is completely for the people who know JavaScript perfectly. This is not for people who don't know any JavaScript, right? This is only for people who are perfectly aware of complete JavaScript. So here we are not explaining any arrays or anything. Remember, string methods, number related methods, all are same, no change. Not number related methods means I will give that point also here. So here a simple note, all string number. So string number math. So math functions are same as JavaScript. There is no change. String methods, math methods, number methods, all are same. Number methods means parse int, parse float, is an, right? All are same, no change. String functions means, you know, JavaScript have a lot of string methods. String length, string have match, so many. All those, there is no change. All you can use in the same way. Only the way of declaring variable is a different point here. Right? Now, let's see what is change in array. What is the nature of JavaScript array? What you learnt about array in JavaScript and how it is difference in TypeScript array. What you learnt about array in JavaScript? You learnt about array in JavaScript, why arrays are used. Arrays are used for reducing overhead and complexity. And in JavaScript, arrays are not similar type. You can handle any type. So, in C, C++, Java, .NET, everywhere, arrays are considered as what? Same type of values. But in JavaScript, array can have different types that you learned about array manipulations and all. In TypeScript, there are two behaviors. In TypeScript, what are the two behaviors is arrays in TypeScript can handle various types of values or similar type of values. That is the point. Generally in JavaScript, a array can handle any kind of value. But TypeScript have both mechanism. In TypeScript, you can create an array in such a way that it can handle only same type. You can create in such a way that it can handle different types also. In JavaScript, array is not similar type. Array can handle various types. That is a JavaScript concept already you know. But in TypeScript, we have small syntactical reference here. How to declare array in TypeScript? Where categories. Suppose you are expecting categories all string. Then you can just put a string and array constructor. That is how we define. That means now in this you can store only strings. You have like var sales. It is an number type array. That's how you can store. So you can configure similar types. You can't store anything else now. Actually, if you want to store any type of value, that means you can simply use var some values, any type array. This indicates you can store any kind of value. It can be string type, it can be number type, it can be Boolean combination. Generally, JavaScript works like this actually. In JavaScript, arrays are not similar type. Arrays can handle different types. But here in TypeScript, we can put restriction. That is good, right? We can put the restriction like this. That means how we put the restriction. So var categories, I want only string, then colon string array. How to allocate memory for array? Same. You know that memory for array is allocated by using meta character and by using array constructor. There are two options. That means how you allocate memory for array, you know that. In JavaScript, there are two methods. So one is meta character, another one constructor. Now see here, I declared categories. Can I store values into categories? You cannot. You cannot store values into categories because memory is not allocated. Declaring is not enough. You have to allocate memory for array. Otherwise, you cannot store values. You cannot store values. That means this is string. And in categories 0, I am mentioning as some value. That means like some category footwear like this. It is not taking. Why? Because how it will take? There is no memory allocated. And you know how to allocate memory. How to allocate memory? You can initialize memory or you can assign memory. How to initialize memory? Equal to array constructor.